I think we can all agree that the Sony A6400 is a brilliant, plucky little camera, but it is 2023. Is it still worth it? Well, I think I've got the answer to that question. Let's start at the top. The Sony A6400 was released back in February of 2019. This thing is now officially 4 years old. And straight out the gates, when this camera was very first launched, it became very popular with photo and video shooters alike. The camera design has stood up well to the test of time. I've had this thing in a multitude of different weathering conditions. I've thrown it about, it's been battered and bruised, but it's been able to withstand everything I've thrown at it over the last 3 years of nearly owning it. The form factor is another big plus for this camera. I think it's one of the reasons why the A6000 series of cameras is so popular. It's lightweight, it's compact, it's a really easy everyday carry. And for people who are just starting out, this is ideal because this little camera doesn't scream professional to the average chap, even though we know we can get great photographs with it. I love it especially for street photography because it allows you to be a little bit more incognito. The only issue I have with the design of the A6400, and I think to be fair this is across the board with the A6000 series of cameras, is the microphone placement, because when you put a microphone on and then you try and flip the LCD screen, mic's going to be in the way. But what you can do to easily fix this, and this is what I recommend if you're going to be doing a lot of filming with this camera, is getting this little accessory from SmallRig. It's quite cheap. I'll leave links in the description below to everything I'm going to be mentioning. And what you can do is just put your microphone to the right hand side and then still see your beautiful, lovely face on the LCD screen when you're filming. Speaking of video, with this camera, you still get some specs that really hold up well in 2023. You get 4K up to 30 FPS. You get terrific video autofocus that you can always rely on. And then if you want to slow things down a little bit, this camera will deliver you 1080 up to 120 FPS. You can also achieve some great color grading with this camera. It has all the picture profiles that you'll need, and despite that 8-bit sensor, the opening sequence that you watched was mostly filmed using this camera, so it still has the capabilities to push out some high quality results. If you are looking at this as your very first camera, then you're gonna have some great video capabilities on your side. Just for a reference, my very first DSLR camera was a Nikon D5200, and I believe the maximum it could do was 1080 up to 30 and 720 at 60. That's kind of mad to think about. If this was my very first camera, I'd be chuffed. Switching things up to the photography side of things, this is a little beast that packs one hell of a punch. The A6400 has a 24 megapixel APS-C sensor, lightning fast autofocus paired with face and eye tracking, 11 FPS burst shooting, making this a great choice for sports and wildlife photographers, and not to mention, it is also pretty good in those lower light conditions. Some of my best work has been taken with this camera. Now, primarily, I focused on street photography when using it, but if you're looking at this camera for landscapes, cars, wildlife, sports, portraits, weddings, street, the list goes on, this camera will be able to handle pretty much anything you throw at it. You know what? I can say with 100% confidence that this little camera here can actually do paid professional gigs. So as a first camera, you might also be able to start making money with it as well. A huge benefit of this camera, and to be fair this applies to all Sony cameras, is the E-mount and how well supported it is for lenses. People might know that I started out with Nikon. I actually bought the Nikon Z6 but quickly sold it because the lens support wasn't there. The lenses were expensive when they were there and I couldn't afford them. Also the video capabilities were naff. So I switched over to Sony, and for the fraction of the cost I was able to get some terrific lenses, but I also lost a ton of money by switching systems, which is why when people ask me what ecosystem they should go into, I always personally recommend Sony for both photography and video. You get support from lens manufacturers such as Sony themselves, Sigma, Tamron, Viltrox, Samyang, the list goes on and on. With this ecosystem, you can get some great glass that isn't going to break the bank. From my personal experience then, the Sony A6400 is a fantastic little camera. It might not have the best specs in the world, it might not be the latest model of camera, but I don't think that's important. When you're starting out in photography or filmmaking, your objective should be about learning the creative process. It can be really easy to get trapped down the rabbit hole of just obsessing over the technology, obsessing over the specs. They're not important. What's important is picking up a camera, getting out there and creating. All you need when you're starting out is a reliable camera that is going to assist you in learning photography and filmmaking. To summarize then, the Sony A6400 in 2023, is it worth it? Absolutely. The Sony A6400 is a great tool if you want to do video. If you want this as an A camera, a B camera, it's going to do you right for both. If you just want something that's lightweight, compact, easy to carry around with you on an everyday basis, this is going to be perfect and tick all the right boxes. And if you're looking at getting started in photography, then I'd highly recommend the Sony A6400. This is a brilliant creative tool and will teach you so much about photography and filmmaking and be a great start for your creative journey. With all that said and done, before we end today's video, let's have a little look for the hashtag CP photos and see what you lot have been creating over there. So let's get screen recording going. And here we go. Let's start at top. We'll look at a few images here. This one right here by Streets Brunettes. These are some amazing Chicago street shots. Damn, and I love the blooming highlights you've got from all the lights. Oh, wow. Chicago's definitely on my list. It looks like such a sick city for photography. This long exposure shot here, in everywhere. This is a brilliant shot right here. Really like the long exposures you got going on within this image. That is fantastic. And this look-up shot by XMLS Studios. That is a brilliant one. I presume the plane is definitely photoshopped in, but it's such a good look-up shot. I love it. And now let's go over to recent. Let's see what you guys have been creating over there. We'll start with this London shot by Jason Photography 1906. Really nice, simple framing. And I really like the color grade in this. Gives it like a proper filmic look, unless you did shoot it on a filmic camera. No Sony A74 with 24-70. Nice combo, I like it, I rate it. We've got a brilliant skyline shot in London by MS Lens. That is a beautiful landscape shot right there. Absolutely nailed it. And we'll have a look at a few more today. So let's scroll down a little bit. There's a few photographs here that are really eye-catching. This first one with the bookshelves and the staircase, that is such a cool shot. Where is that? By D. Hoss Photos. That is a really cool library. What an amazing... I mean, imagine trying to get to the top shelf to reach a book. And then we've got here this really cool collage by Demic Shots. Really like this. I need to start doing this again. I've actually slowed down a little bit, but it's always so fun doing it. But yeah, brilliant shots right there. And the last photograph we're going to have a look at today... Actually, we're going to have a look at two. This one right here, this is a brilliant shot. I love the framing of this shot by Raw Artifacts. That is brilliant, brilliant framing. And the final one, I like the word brilliant today. And then the final one today is this moody shot from One True Legend in Liverpool Street, City of London. Love the moody tones you've got on here. Love the colour grading that you have done. Brilliant shot. And thank you everyone for continuing to use the hashtag CP photos. It's always fun seeing what you guys have been creating over there. So that's where we're going to be leaving today's video with the Sony A6400. If you did like the video, make sure you hit the like button, drop a comment below, subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell icon so you're notified for whenever I release a new video. It'd be deeply appreciated and it would be great to have you on board. And at this point, I think we've maybe just hit 30,000 subscribers. We're very close at the time of filming this, and if we have, I'd like to say a massive thank you for the continued support on the channel. This community just grows beyond what I could ever have imagined when I started out with YouTube. And yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. And I know it sounds cliche, and that's because it is, because every YouTuber says it, but it really does mean something, and I really do appreciate each and every one of you. But yeah, until next time, guys, create, explore, and inspire. And I'll see you in the next one. Later.